This video is powered by Dr. Cinik, one of the world's leading hair transplant centres and a top choice among football superstars. Scan the QR code on the screen or click the link below for your free consultation.
Welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. Kicking off straight away with the big news that broke yesterday. It actually broke after I did the show. It was Fabrizio Romano with an exclusive that Benjamin Sesko, that many people deem to be the #1 target for Arsenal, has decided to stay at RB Leipzig. He will not be leaving RB Leipzig this summer, will be staying and will not be signing for Arsenal, will not be signing for Chelsea, the two teams that were really, really hot in for him, especially what we were told at Arsenal. He will not be signing. He's staying put. Now, it led to, in some quarters, I wouldn't say as ferocious as I've seen it in the past, to, in some quarters of the Arsenal fan base, to be in a bit of a meltdown. Oh, we've missed out on another target. Why are we not going for Sesko? He would, always makes me laugh this because sometimes these targets are not the obvious targets at the start of the window. If you went and did a poll and you said to, 100 Arsenal fans, which striker do you want before the window even, or before we even got to the end of the season, say a week before the end of the season, probably nobody would have said Sesko. But then because we're linked with him, everybody then all of a sudden said, we've got to get him, we have to get him. I don't think there's any need to panic here whatsoever. The player himself says he wants to, says he wants to stay because he needs to develop himself more. What does that tell you? That tells you that he's not ready yet for a club like Arsenal to start at Arsenal, and is still, recognising himself that he still needs to develop. So is that the player that we really need right now? He's a young player. And as I said, even previously, if he comes in, he's probably going to come in as a #2 to Havertz and probably start learning behind him and coming up behind him. But it was a bit of a surprise because there was a lot of talk that he was going to, be a possible signing for Arsenal. He had this release clause, but he has decided to stay. Now, what does that do to any possible release clause in the future? Really reminds me a bit of like when Haaland was at RB Leipzig and a lot of teams were after him and he decided to stay a little longer, for his development. Sorry, when Haaland was at Dortmund and he decided to stay a little longer for his development and then eventually left. Same with Bellingham. So, there's probably some sort of gentleman's agreement about his fee, etc. We're going to have to wait and see, but he will not be coming to Arsenal by the looks of it this summer. So who are Arsenal going to buy? Who are they going to turn their attentions to? Did Arsenal kind of know this all along and were kind of happy for these rumours to be swirling around because they're actually working on somebody else? There's that as well. We've seen Arsenal do that a lot in the past, let everybody sort of be derailed over there whilst they're working on a target here. They pick players out of the blue. We saw them do it when, they bought in Raya and when they bought in Havertz last season. None of it was expected. So who knows what's going to happen? We have been talking about Joshua Zirkzee of Bologna. £34 million release clause, all set to go to AC Milan. Terms agreed, but that hasn't yet happened. The window ain't open yet, so it still might. Hasn't yet happened, and there has been talk this week that Arsenal may be looking to hijack that deal. Will they follow that through, or is the player already determined to go to Milan? Again, that's going to be one we're going to have to watch as the transfer window opens on Friday. But Zirkzee, again, being obviously linked today with that news about Sesko. And this striker has emerged. I'm surprised that we haven't really heard a lot of rumours surrounding this guy before, but rumours emerging today, obviously because of what happened with Sesko. Everyone's going to be looking at strikers, and that is Santiago Gimenez of Feyenoord. Now, again, another good season for him last year, scoring 23 goals and 6 assists in 30 games. Very, very good stats. in the Eredivisie for Feyenoord. Listen, since he's arrived at Feyenoord, he's been banging in the goals. A very, very good striker with a growing reputation around Europe. Said to be valued at around about £40 million, but they may want more for him because, you know, he's a striker. And we all know that, you know, centre forwards, they're big money because there's not loads of really top centre forwards at the moment. Mexican international, so we'll get to see him in the Copa America that's coming up. And as I said, a very good reputation, has been playing really well over there in the Dutch leagues. But could he replicate that in the Premier League? We've seen strikers before and top players before come from that Dutch league, particularly in the striker department, and not hit the ground running, find it very difficult in the more physical Premier League. Although this guy, when you see him play, does seem to have those physical attributes. So one to keep an eye on, Santiago Gimenez of Feyenoord being linked with a move to Arsenal today, as is Nico Williams of Atletico Bilbao. Now, he's been linked with a move to Arsenal many times before, including in the January transfer window, including last summer. Mikel Arteta seems to be a big fan of him. A very, very quick player, very, very good player in the Spanish squad that's going to be playing at the Euros, so you'll be able to check him out there and do your own scouting. Scored 8 goals in 7 and had 17 assists. That's a lot of assists in 37 games last season. So those are very good stats as well as a player that plays out on the left wing. And he's said to have this release clause of £42.1 million, which is not unassailable for Arsenal. So, again, an interesting one. It's going to be interesting to see if Arsenal try to go for an out-and-out centre-forward, or do they just say to themselves, well, you know what, let's just bring in a wide player that can score goals and can contribute to goals. Because last year, when you think about it, the goals, we scored loads of them. We were the second highest goal scorers in the Premier League, and they were distributed right across that front line. I mean, we all want to see a top centre-forward to come and bang in 25 goals, but it doesn't always have to come from a centre-forward. We've seen Liverpool over the years, especially when they had Mane and they had Salah, both of them wide players who scored lots and lots of goals. It wasn't really goals from the centre-forward. Even Man City, before they brought in Haaland, it was the case with them. So, interesting. If Arsenal can't nail down that top centre-forward, top striker, look for them to possibly bring in a wide player that score goals, and that's why that link to Nico Williams is very interesting. They've also been linked with Andriy Lunin today of Real Madrid. This is a bit of a strange link, I've got to say. Had a fantastic season last year in the goal for Real Madrid. Of course, Courtois got injured right at the start of the season, and he had to fill in for him. They won the league, Real Madrid. He was brilliant in the Champions League. Really unlucky that he didn't get a chance to play in the Champions League final. But he's been brilliant. But he only has a year left on his current contract. They're negotiating with him at the moment. Real Madrid want to sign him to a new long-term deal. But you saw last season that probably this guy's too good to be playing as a number 2, even at Real Madrid. I mean, it's not a bad place to be a number 2. But as soon as Courtois is back, which was shown in the final, he's back in as a number 1 and Lunin's number 2. Lunin's impressed right across Europe. Loads of teams have been interested in him. Loads of teams knows his situation, and loads of teams would have him. And according to Cadena Cope, an outlet over there in Spain, they claim that Arsenal are one of them clubs that have made an offer for Lunin. Strange, that one, because we're just getting Raya in. So Raya's going to be number 1. Ramsdale looks like he's probably going to be moved on this summer. So, all right, there'll be a vacancy there. But what? Go from being number 2 at Real Madrid to being possible number 2 at Arsenal? I just can't see it. Why would you want to do that? You know, if it comes down to that, you're going to say, right, I'll stay and be number 2 at Real Madrid. You know, it doesn't make no sense to me, but listen, strange things happen in the world of transfers when it comes to Arsenal, because if you'd have told me that Arsenal were going to go and get Raya last season, before the transfer window started, after the season that Ramsdale had, I would have said no chance, but they did. You know, so you don't know, man. You know, we've seen a lot of goalkeepers come and go. Leno's gone. You know, Martinez has gone. Who knows, man? But Rayo's about to be signed for 12. I just can't see that one. That one would blow me away. But let's see. Let's see. Another player that's been linked with a move away from Arsenal is Jakub Kiwior. Now, we've heard rumours that AC Milan have been really, really interested in him. And Jakub Kiwior preparing at the moment for the Euros, where he's going to be there with Poland. And, you know, had a good season for Arsenal last year. Didn't play in his favoured centre-back position, but played as a left-back and did well when he came in. Did very, very well, even though sometimes you looked at him and you're like, you ain't a left-back. We can see that. But he filled in very well, but doesn't really get a chance in that centre-back position. Of course, you know, you've got Saliba and Gabriel there. They're nailed on at the moment unless one of them two get injured. And even though he's only been at Arsenal 18 months, he probably wants to play first-team football. He's getting these offers from over there in Italy. AC Milan, as I said, have been interested. The big one that's in now that are very interested is Juventus. So this is two giants of Italian football interested in signing Jakub Kiwior. The rumours are that Arsenal would take about £17 million for him. That seems low to me, especially when you see his valuations up towards, you know, 25 to 30 million. And even then, with the 70 million, you know, these Italian clubs are balking at that and saying that's too much. I don't know what's going to happen with this situation. Of course, he was at Spezia before he came to Arsenal and was wanted by a lot of the big Italian clubs, but he decided to come to Arsenal. They want him. Thiago Motta is going to be taking over at Juventus. He had him at Spezia. Could that happen? I mean, if he does go, then Arsenal are going to need another centre-back. But he's been linked today heavily with a move to Juventus. Would love to get your opinions on that. Personally, I'd like to see him stay. But if the price was right, surely not for 17 million. That's a giveaway. But if he does go, who comes in? Now, Arsenal today been linked with Murillo, the centre-back who plays for Nottingham Forest. Had a great season last year. I've got to say, he looked impressive as a centre-back. Still only 21, the Brazilian, and he was brilliant for Nottingham Forest. Now, it's said that these football transfers with this rumours that both Arsenal and Tottenham are interested in Murillo. However, Nottingham Forest are said to want around 60 to 70 million pounds for his signature. We know that Nottingham Forest have had financial troubles. They were docked points last season for breaches of the profit and sustainability rules. And, you know, they'd be willing to sell if they got the right money in. But 60 to 70 million seems a bit ridiculous at the moment. There's no, I mean, we're talking about Jakub Kiwior, who's a, you know, international player, and 17 million. And then they're talking about 60 million for Murillo. I know he had a great season, but absolutely no way are Arsenal going to pay, or Tottenham are going to pay that sort of money. That's the sort of money that they are apparently demanding. But let's keep an eye on that one. Very good player, Brazilian. Edu's Brazilian, right? You know, Gabriel's Brazilian. He fit in nicely. You know, I mean, he's got Martinelli there as well. That's an interesting one. And I think he's a very good player. Yeah, I mean, it would be a good signing for Arsenal. But at that fee, I think absolutely no chance. So those are the rumours for today. Let us know what you think about those rumours in the comments. Don't forget, we've got another episode coming out soon of Talking Transfers. We're going to run through all of some of these transfers. We'll have to bring this Murillo one up and see what everyone thinks. But thanks for watching the show, and I'll be back again right here tomorrow.